Are the Celtics about to trade away one of their most underrated weapons to the Jazz? What's really brewing behind closed doors in Boston? Just when Celtics fans thought they could enjoy their long-awaited 18th banner in peace, the front office may be preparing to detonate the very core that made it possible, and the most shocking part, it might not stop at Jrue Holiday or Kristaps Porzingis. A trade proposal involving Sam Hauser, yes. That Sam Hauser suggests the Celtics might be willing to sacrifice one of their most cost-efficient assets just to stay afloat under the NBA's draconian second apron. But is that the kind of move that keeps banners coming or ends the dynasty before it starts? Forget sentimentality. In today's NBA, loyalty and luxury tax don't mix. With new collective bargaining agreement rules tightening like a vice, even a team that just conquered the league isn't safe from self-destructs. Boston's success has painted them into a financial corner, and now Brad Stevens faces an uncomfortable truth. If they want to contend and stay under the second tax apron, someone has to go. Maybe several. What nobody expected was Hauser's name being mentioned in serious trade talks. The sharpshooter, known for his lethal catch-and-shoot efficiency and a contract most G-Miz would kill for, is now being floated in a deal to the Utah Jazz. Why? To climb just 11 spots from no. 30 to no. 21 in the 2025 NBA draft. At first glance, swapping Hauser and a second-rounder for a mid-late first might sound reasonable, but dig deeper and it raises red flags. Why would a finals-winning team give up a proven role player on an extremely team-friendly deal for a prospect who might never match Hauser's shooting, let alone his playoff composure? Is Brad Stevens trying to get ahead of another cap spike, or is he simply out of options? Let's not forget, the Celtics already fended off suitors like the Jazz for Porzingis and Holiday before assembling their current roster. Ainge, now running Utah's front office, was reportedly eyeing both stars before Stevens outmaneuvered him. That history could either fuel a deal or poison the well entirely. On paper, shedding Hauser helps the Celtics cut costs, but emotionally and strategically, it might damage the very identity this team has spent years building. Hauser has grown into far more than a floor spacer. His off-ball movement, defensive effort, and low-ego adaptability made him a perfect complement to Boston's high-usage stars. Could this be the beginning of a bigger tear-down? If Holiday and Porzingis are truly on the block, and now Hauser too, what does that say about Boston's trust in its own formula? Or are they betting too heavily on unproven depth and late-round miracles? This isn't just a cost-cutting trade, it's a philosophical pivot. Boston could be exchanging certainty for potential, depth for upside, stability for cap space. And while these are the kinds of moves that win awards in the front office, they can lose championships on the court. The Celtics might gain a few million in flexibility and a rookie on a cheap deal, but at what cost to their identity, their chemistry, their continuity? Are the Celtics secretly orchestrating the biggest power shift in the NBA? Or is Boston playing a dangerous game with one of its core leaders as the bait? When Kevin Durant's name hits the trade rumor circuit, the basketball world stops. But when Boston gets involved even as a third team, alarm bells start ringing. What at first looked like a harmless footnote in a crowded rumor mill has suddenly morphed into something far more complex and far more explosive. And the latest update? It might just be the clearest sign yet that the Celtics are entering a high-risk zone, where reputations are made or burned to the ground. Let's talk about what really raised eyebrows. Jrue Holiday. If Boston's name is showing up in Durant-related trade frameworks, it's not because they want Durant. It's because Jrue Holiday might be expendable. That alone is seismic. Zach Lowe's clarification made it clear the Celtics aren't chasing Durant. But buried within his comments was something more intriguing. Boston could be part of a deal to help facilitate Durant's move elsewhere, using Jrue Holiday as a key piece. That might sound transactional, but dig deeper, and it suggests something even more provocative. Boston may be willing to sacrifice a veteran leader to chase financial breathing room. Is this just cap manipulation to dodge the second tax apron, or is Brad Stevens testing the waters on how much this championship roster can be dismantled before it implodes? The curiosity gap here is massive. If Jrue Holiday can be dangled in a hypothetical that doesn't even benefit the Celtics directly, who else could be next? Here's the twist that nobody's talking about. What if Durant's name is just smoke, while the fire is inside Boston's own locker room? This trade buzz could be more about reshaping the Celtics from within than about KD at all. After all, this isn't the first time Durant has hovered near Boston headlines, but this time, the conversation isn't about acquiring him. It's about who Boston is willing to lose just to be a cog in someone else's blockbuster. That's not just unusual, it's unsettling. If Jrue is used as a salary matching chip, it reveals that Boston sees him not as a cornerstone, but as a number on a spreadsheet. That's not the attitude of a team trying to repeat as champions. That's the mindset of a front office trying to future-proof itself no matter the cost to chemistry, culture, or continuity. Here's a darker question. What if Brad Stevens believes this roster has already peaked and he's preemptively cashing out while the value's still high? If so, that would mean the 2020 championship wasn't the start of a dynasty. It was the beginning of the end, of course. Celtics officials will say all the right things. We're not trading for Durant. We're happy with our core. We believe in this group. But actions always speak louder than statements. And even being adjacent to a superstar trade rumor with your finals MVP level point guard as the centerpiece is a statement in itself. It means nobody is safe. Not when tax penalties are rising, not when other stars are aging, and certainly not when front offices are calculating every move 3 years ahead. Is Boston quietly preparing to trade the heart of its title team? What if the real danger this offseason isn't losing Kevin Durant, but losing everything that made the Celtics champions? Just days after the dust settled on Banner 18, the Boston Celtics might be staring at their most fragile offseason in a decade. Not because they're chasing another superstar, not because they're rebuilding, but because the system is forcing their hand. And in the shadows of the Kevin Durant trade rumors, something even more disruptive might be brewing. Jrue Holiday could be on the move, not as a centerpiece, but as a throw-in, a facilitator, a financial casualty. But what if this side deal is the first crack in a dynasty fans assumed was just getting started? Let's be clear, the Celtics aren't trading for Kevin Durant. Lowe said it. The salary mechanics make it nearly impossible, and still, Boston's name keeps coming up. Why? Because of Jrue Holiday. Because his contract, valuable yet expensive, is the puzzle piece that could unlock something bigger for another team, and that's the real twist. Boston may not be building, but they might be disassembling, piece by piece, under the illusion of smart cap management. In Lowe's own words, there have been at least very broad discussions of 3-team Durant-related trades where Jrue Holiday is involved. Just like he was the shrapnel in the Damian Lillard trade, Holiday isn't just a contract. He's the spine of the Celtics defense, the veteran voice in the locker room, the guy who made life hell for opposing guards and gave Boston the balance it lacked for years. But now, with the second luxury tax apron tightening like a noose, Boston may be willing to move him not for a star, not for picks, but just to facilitate another team's headline. Let that sink in. Boston could help Phoenix or another contender land Durant, and in return, they might get financial flexibility, and little else. Is that worth it? Would any fan in their right mind trade away the most reliable defensive guard in the NBA so another team could pair Durant with their star, while Boston pockets some savings and a role player or two? Because that's what this deal could look like. Buried beneath the Durant noise is another creeping loss. Luke Kornet, the big man who over-delivered on every expectation last season, could walk for nothing. According to reports, his value has exploded, and several mid-level exception teams are circling. Kornet wasn't flashy, but he was essential. Verticality, rim protection, sneaky playmaking, and all of it on a minimum deal. Now, he's likely priced out. The Celtics may want to keep him, but wanting and being able to afford are no longer the same thing under this new CBA. And just like that, the core pieces could vanish without Boston getting better, only cheaper. But make no mistake, this is a tear down in disguise. Not a rebuild, not a reload, but a quiet dismantling, sold to fans as cap flexibility. And here's the terrifying question nobody is asking. What if Brad Stevens doesn't believe this roster can win again? And this is his exit strategy. Celtics fans have seen stars come and go, but Holiday is different. He was the veteran warrior, the final piece that pushed Boston over the top. Moving him, especially in a deal where he's not even the priority, would send a message no one wants to hear. Winning isn't sustainable anymore, not when the math doesn't work. And Kornet, his exit would be a warning shot to every other role player. Play well, exceed expectations, and you'll price yourself out of Boston.